that was good. Oh, God damn it, Janine.
Julie's a lot better at that than I am.
That's a good glug. That was a nice glug.
This nice mic I got going on here.
I know. It's so big and fancy.
Up in my grill.
So.
Would you like one?
Sure. You know, like, at this point, like an hour and 20 minutes ago, Kate Kulzick walks to my house and was like, well, if we're going to do this, I need to get drunk, right? Them's the rules. I was like, well, I mean, sort of. Like, I'm not going to pressure you into drinking, but yeah, that's the deal. And she was like, great, well, give me a beer. I was like, do you want something lighter? And she was like, oh, no, I'm a heavyweight. Give me your heaviest hitter. And so I poured an 11% beer for her. And 3 minutes later, it was gone. So I have a question. You Irish?
Yes.
Yeah? Girl,
Yeah.
Me too. There we go.
Irish and German.
Okay.
And Polish.
So you've got the booze in general and the beer thing.
Yeah.
And then probably you also love potatoes from like 3 different things. That's me too.
Well, also because they're delicious.
Yes, well, I mean, what kind of monster is like no potato? Actually, right now, my boyfriend is a monster like that. Doesn't like potatoes?
Only fried.
Loved potatoes.
It's like anything that was like deep fried, he would do, but that was it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love a deep fried potato.
No. Well, no. It's like
Okay.
Texas. Like, I don't think it counts.
That's where I learned to do that. I learned to do that in Florida. So, but that was North Florida, so it was South.
It was a whole thing. It was like, you couldn't, I was like, okay, well, we're going to try scallop potatoes, mashed potatoes, baked potatoes, twice baked. There's so many ways and they're all delicious. But no.
Mashed potatoes are literally my favorite food.
Well,
and it's not close.
To be maybe too timely on this when Thanksgiving is coming up, and it's like I'm making a ridiculous stuffing, but then there's also the cranberries, which are the most underrated of the Thanksgiving condiments.
I agree.
But then you need the bite with the mashed potatoes and the turkey, and like you gotta just all together. It's just amazing.
I requested 2 different kinds of mashed potatoes for Thanksgiving this year, and I think I'm getting them. So I have another question. Kate, just before we started recording, said, so swearing, is that okay? And Janine and I went, sorry, I know that maxed out. I don't care. It was worth it. It was worth it. Hey, I'm sorry, everybody listening at the office. It was totally worth it. I really wanted to do that.
We both said.
So that makes me want to say, what, are you not Irish? Like, I don't.
Well, okay, because I'm the kind of person who self-censors, like, on Twitter, with, like, and put stars in, and, like, even in my notes. So on my podcast, the Televerse, we have our own, like, a OneNote thing where we keep track of what's going on because we cover a stupid amount of shows. In my comments every now and again when I add something in, I will even, like, censor myself there, like, put, like, stars or
so, like dog rates where it's, like, floppy as heck, but with the asterisk instead of the E. Like that?
Yeah, that kind of a thing. I would say heck. But it's just, and I will also swear like crazy in person, but I just, I censor, just because I don't want to offend anyone.
I promise you at this point we will have scared off literally everyone who has a problem with cursing. But like 5 minutes into episode 1, I'm sure.
Yeah.
In fact, I think in the first episode we ever did, there was a little conversation where we talk about how there's just no point in even attempting to decide whether or not this episode is explicit, because they're just always going to, in like so many senses. Like there's not, when there's an episode in which there's no fucking, then we talk about how there's no fucking. Like there's no, it's just not a thing
that's worth trying to
we can't control it. We can't stop this storm.
And if you're gonna have the explicit, like really just go for it. Double down and
It's just it's our brand. Welcome to Podlander Drunkcast and Outlander Podcast. I'm Allison Shoemaker.
I'm Kate Kulzick.
And that's Janine.
Hey.
And if you, I don't know if you noticed this, but usually this dumb bitch named Julie Starbird hosts with me. She's not here. Kate's here, and I'm so excited. We haven't done a co-hosted show in like a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. So I'm really excited about this. I've gotten to do Kate's podcast a couple of times. It's great. I highly recommend it, especially because literally every one of you is a TV nerd, or what the hell are you doing listening to this show? I mean, I guess it's possible that there are some of you who only care about Outlander, but I think we probably would have lost most of you at this point, too. We spend a lot of time talking about other things. Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, RuPaul's Drag Race.
I mean, the list goes on. Doctor Who.
The Good Place.
The Good Place.
Yeah, well, who isn't talking about The Good Place right now?
We should do it more.
Anyway, we'll talk more about the Televerse later, but I'm really excited that Kate's here while Julie is getting ready to go to town for Thanksgiving.
Is that what she's doing?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But you understand, here's a thing that you would never guess about Julie listening to the show. Like, if all you know from Julie is that you listen to the show, you would never guess that every time she goes out of town, she obsessively cleans her house. Like, wipes off the blades on her fans.
Really?
Like, oh yeah. Today, I knew that was going to happen when I walked over there today to pick up our equipment. We're recording from my apartment, so my cat is not deaf. She mostly hides, and when she doesn't, she's kind of an asshole. So we have no. She probably won't make an appearance, but you never know.
Instead of meowing, it's just fuck you.
Yeah, pretty much. That's basically it.
Isn't like all cats just like
that's how I feel about them for sure.
like the Gary Larson.
So I walked into their apartment, and what I imagined would be true was true. Neil was sitting on the couch watching television, and Julie was surrounded by paper towels and garbage cans and cleaning supplies. And of course, Neil was also helping. But I think in these situations, he gets a list of things he's supposed to do, and she just goes for broke. So she couldn't do the show this week because she was cleaning.
I hardcore respect that though, because you don't need to worry about it. You know, when you come home, everything will be tidy in its place.
I clean before I go out of town too, but Julie, she goes for broke. So cheers to a clean apartment.
To a clean apartment.
Julie, girl, love you. Okay.
Miss you.
No, we don't. Well, I'll tell you one way I miss her. This is about as good a transition I think we're going to get to talking about the show. Julie's favorite thing. God, apparently I do miss Julie. I can't stop talking about her. Julie's favorite thing is the title cards. She's obsessed with the title cards. She likes to analyze the title card. Think about every time it comes up. She's like, oh. And then she writes shit down, and it's great. And the beginning of this episode totally threw me because the title card was in the wrong fucking place. It was so weird. We got a little cold open, and then we got the credits, and there was that asshole credits deer. I really thought that he got cut, and he didn't. Did you see? He's still in it.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that on Twitter, and I got really mad.
Well, we're coming to Christmas time, right? So we got to turn that into Rudolph at some point.
Well, I've already done that. You saw that.
I have seen that. That's some great Google art.
That I was supposed to be writing them, and I just wasn't. I have a deadline that's upsettingly soon.
Is it like one of those things where the closer the deadline gets, the more Google drawings you do?
Yeah, well, mostly the closer a deadline gets, the more time I spend on Twitter reading about things that don't matter.
Oh, that's fair.
But in this case, I was like, well, I guess I could just put up a photo from the show, or I could find that dead deer and give him a Rudolph nose and put a Santa hat on Sam Huon, and I could do that.
It was really
I think I'll do that.
It's super festive.
Thanks. Yeah, live show. Come to it in Chicago. Anyway, it really threw me, and I don't know if I understand why it was different. Mm-hmm. Do you have any, by the way, huge news Janine watched this week.
Oh, yeah. So I'm a 2-episode person now.
Apparently.
Very exciting.
These are the little things.
But here's the thing. There's another one you totally have to watch this season.
Okay, so apparently I'm just going to... My shtick is going away.
It's not.
I'm not watching anything.
There's one, I can't tell you why, but there's one this season where I just need you to say all of your oh shits live.
Fair enough. That just means
or maybe I just need you to bear witness to how much Julie's going to freak, because she's going to freak.
Okay. I don't know what normally happens with the title card. What was different?
So the difference is it's usually a previously on, and then the credits, and then the title card, and then the show starts. So I guess the title card was sort of in the same place. It's just that they did a chunk of the show, and then the credits, and then the title card.
Oh, so just the order of everything just
fucked up. It really threw me. I mean, I think maybe the pilot did that. I mean, it got a series order, so technically it's not a pilot, but the first episode did that. Mm-hmm. I think maybe... There was a cold open, and then there were the credits. But, if there were more, it's been certainly since season 1. It was weird. It threw me.
Well, and it was a hardcore cold open. Mm-hmm. It was silent, and we were cut in. Well, how often do they cut back in time, though, when they go to the first scene? Usually it's previously on, and then we pick up with the action. This was going back in time to show Jamie's side of what we had seen in the previous episode.
They did that one other time this season, and it was A. Malcolm, because they went back to show him going to the print shop that day, and then talking to the two new Murtas, as Kate put it. Whose names I'm still just going to end up making up. One of them is Hayes, and one of them is something else.
Leslie.
That was a Leslie, yes. That was the longer stretch of time, but this was literally just 10 minutes or something.
Yeah, just long enough for him to be oh, shit. I'm killing it today, guys.
I'll drink to that. That's good.
Yeah, that's a good one. In the middle of all that sequence, though, there was Was it the Claire flute? I think Kate goes, "Oh, that's the Claire flute." And this is, I'm looking at her notes. It's just amazing. And Janine goes, "Oh wait, she's got to grab her music pen." How many colors did you end up using?
I used 5 colors. I barely used the character color, but we have plot, music, quotes, miscellaneous / details, which is a call back to Devil in the Details from This Is Our Design, my Hannibal podcast, and then characters. So mostly it was music and miscellaneous with a couple quotes.
Julie, you're fired. It's amazing. So we start, and God, this table is so loud.
Yeah, this is a loud
I
table.
apologize for everything bad I ever said about Julie's kitchen table. We start, and Fergus is talking to the cook. It's the cook. It's Aloysius Murphy. Yeah. I think it is. Whatever. I'm pretending like I don't know it is. He's talking to Aloysius Murphy. Yeah. Bargaining for something. And Jamie's all suspicious because for whatever reason, Jamie is such a dick to Fergus in this episode.
Yeah, he's a big dick.
Like a dick.
Like what's like a dick?
Yep, pretty much. And we find out he was making a little potpourri from Marsley. Rhymes with parsley.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I got that from Meryl Davis on the old Twitter. And Jamie is all suspicious and he doesn't know why. And then boom, the ship leaves. And it's crazy. Oh, ship, as we said.
We can't do that. We're getting so drunk.
Do you think it was like a decent way to start?
Yeah, I think it was good. Rather than cutting back and after everything had happened, I think it makes sense to start that way, especially if we're going to split time between the two ships, which they wanted to do. I think that was...
Every time we say ships, I'm just going to think shit in my head. We went and switched time between the two shits. And then and I guess we could even stretch that to work because it's like all of the shitting that's happening on the porpoise. I think it's called the porpoise.
Yeah.
And then Jamie being such a shit. And then also maybe he puked so hard he shit himself.
Everyone listening, oh shit. Just
there we go.
keep going. And if you're in work, sorry, but you got to follow the rules.
Well, I mean, I guess they could drink coffee or whatever.
Not as fun.
Somewhere Jen Moniz is commuting, and she just goes, well, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. She goes, well, and she pulls a flask out of her pocket and just goes to town. So, because Jamie just... doesn't have any chill, this scene turns into, well, all of a sudden now I'm the captain of the shit. And, I'm going to start ordering dudes around. And then the actual captain is like, no, you don't. And then there's like a captain off. And then Jamie ends up in jail, which is, by the way, now going on the list of things that Jamie is good at. He's really good at ending up in jail for no fucking good reason.
He's very good at jail. He usually does jail much better than this, though. He was kind of terrible at jail this time. And I appreciated how stupid he was all up. Like, well, we just had to take the ships. Like, Fergus is like, you're a fucking idiot. Yeah. That's not going to happen. Oh, God, I teach violin as well as being a violinist, and so I just hope none of my students look this up. And Renee, I'm sorry if you did. I'll try not to swear as much, but it's probably going to happen. Anyways,
Safe space. Yeah. Curse as much as you need.
Yeah, I know, but like,
I know. But you know what? Fuck
parents could Google me. You know what? I'm just saying. Anyways, we're on a limited time frame here. We got to get back to the action.
We got to do this.
But no, I just like. I was reading such a narrative into Fergus's like side of that conversation. To jump ahead a little bit, Fergus's side of the conversation with Jamie, where Jamie's like, "Okay, well, we just gotta take the ship to just like pick a pocket and let me out," and he's like, "That's a terrible idea. Definitely not doing that. My fiance is definitely gonna get horribly raped when I'm in jail with you." So that was one of my more entertaining things. You guys were talking about last week on the podcast how Jamie should have been more useless at being sick, which I kept waiting for that to happen. It's like, was he getting his acupuncture in the brig? Was it like a thing that was happening? Because
maybe that's why he turned into such a dumb mutineer dick motherfucker.
Oh yeah, maybe maybe he was so cranky from all the puking that he forgot like how to be a rational human for a second.
And then like pulling out that whole gig about like, oh, I'll only give you this blessing if you do this bullshit for me. Where you're just like, Jamie, you've done some dick shit, but motherfucker, come on.
You know, if this episode has a common theme between the two stories, it's not moving heaven and earth. It's not that. Which, by the way, I think is a line from the book that's actually used in reference to Claire trying to save everybody. Like, she moves heaven and earth to save everybody on the ship, which doesn't get used. Whatever. They cut my favorite fucking scene from that entire book, and I'm really pissed about it. We'll get there. But if there's one thing in common, it's Claire and Jamie both exercising terrible judgment and doing like shitty things that are maybe pretty contrary to their character. And I think that we're supposed to think that it's because they love each other so much that they'll do anything. And I just am not sure I read it that way.
I feel a little bit like it like thinking back on it now, I wasn't thinking this at the time because I'm not that smart. But it feels a little bit like there's two kids like throwing tantrums, you know, where they're just like,
well, they were very dangerous tantrums.
They're dangerous tantrums, but in like really like they're in intense situations where like suddenly this is the first time where they're like separated in a way that could put them worlds apart again. And they were throwing like stupid decision tantrums to say like, nope, don't want to do that anymore. I don't know.
I mean, I understand why, but we'll get there. We'll get there. There's the
missing scene. Is that kind of the piece?
Oh no, that's just a really good scene that they cut that I'm really sad about. But we'll get there. And every time somebody walked on screen and Claire was standing at that rail. Do ships have rails?
Sure.
They look like them.
The edge. You're supposed to know all the sailing terms.
Oh fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
The rail. She's standing at the rail. She's standing at the ship balcony. She's standing at the whatever.
Like, I would assume the crow's nest was the ship's balcony.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. Yeah.
I know very few terms, but that's one of them.
Anyway, every time she was standing at the edge and somebody would walk up behind her, I'd be like, what's going to happen? For a while, I even thought I was warned by some of the really delightful people in our Slack this morning. They're like, oh, well, they cut that scene. We have a little a channel within the channel called In the Books. Every time I read it, it makes me laugh. Anyway, they were like, hey, so just a heads up. They cut that shit. I was like, oh. And then still, knowing that, every time somebody walked up behind her, I was like, they were just trying to give me a little present. They were misleading me so that I could be surprised and delighted and enjoy this in a new way. No.
Okay. Because we are on a limited time frame here today, which normally is not how I roll podcast style, I'm gonna need you to tell me what this scene is because I'm not a book reader.
We just get to it.
Because
we'll just get to
if we keep putting it off, it's not gonna happen.
Okay, and there is a chance that I will not go into a ton of the content of the scene. Oh God, you know what? No, it has to go in the spoiler section. Okay, it has to be based on something that happens later.
Okay.
So, where are we at in this episode?
Very beginning. So, this is before the fucking title card. We haven't even gotten the credits yet. So Jamie is in the brig.
The brig.
Hey, go team us.
Yeah.
Watching Star Trek, you know it's a brig.
That's where I was too.
Hey, you know what? You guys are great. And then we get the credits, and the deer is still there. And then there's the title card, and it's people. And I was like, why is that water so green? And Kate was like, that's the Crème de Menthe. I was like, oh, okay.
I mean,
cool.
I even got that.
Did you?
I did.
Bitch. Yeah. Whatever. That wasn't an implied bitch. That was a bitch. Anyway, so they're putting, I don't know, their ship pickaxes? Like, what the fuck were they using? Into cases. Oh, I guess they would have still been on land. Whatever. Into cases of barrels of creme de menthe. And green water comes out.
It was definitely not the right viscosity. Yeah.
So it was very disorienting. And then we're on the porpoise, which is appropriately named because there were so many wet slapping sounds.
Oh, yeah, that was good. Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry for the mouth sounds haters.
I do have actually a note on the Foley. I think they did a pretty good job of making it sound super gross over there.
It sounded so gross.
Oh, man.
One of the best details I caught is you could hear what sounded like somebody walking through a really thick, viscous puddle.
Oh, God.
I have a question. Gosh. What happens if you're sick enough that you're constantly puking and shitting yourself, which is what happens when you have typhoid, and you're in a hammock?
Oh,
you really don't want to be under it.
Oh, it pools.
Yeah, well, wouldn't it like slow drip coffee?
Yeah, no,
Well, it would depend on your pantaloons. Because if you're in a hammock on a ship at this point, I feel like you're wearing pantaloons.
Yeah. So I guess it would be the sturdiness
the head
of the
would
fabric.
be like turned.
Yeah, you'd probably be fine with the vomit.
Yeah.
Because you'd be trying really hard to not choke on your own vomit. Unless you went like into the...
I feel like it would be dripping out of both ends of the pantaloons.
Wouldn't your like, in those like really cramped situations, wouldn't they do doubles as well? That would be shitty.
Well, shitty.
Shippy.
Would it be shitty?
Oh, shitty. Hey, drinking.
I mean, I think part of the law that Claire was laying down is nobody can be anywhere near each other. Mm-hmm. So presumably, if they were down,
yeah. Well, they probably had them like just totally crammed in there to try to like contain the disease because they don't know what germs are. Mm-hmm. And like it's crazy. Like, God, shout out to Sawbones out there. Anybody listens to that podcast, but like it's crazy how recently we figured out what germs were. Like it's just
germs. That is a Davina Porter exclusive. That's every time Jamie says germs on the audiobook. It sounds like this. Germs. Ooh, the wee germs. 20 minutes? Fuck. No, we're not.
We got this.
The next note I have is lady doctor means something else now. Like people keep calling her a lady doctor. Yeah. And that's because I'm a child. That's what I call my gynecologist. So it was very confusing for me.
I was going to Jodie Whittaker.
Good, yeah. See, you're more optimistic than I am. But you know what? Jodie Whittaker is probably going to get approximately the same reaction from a certain percentage of the world.
Yeah. It's already happened.
Oh, God, the world sucks. Anyway, there are some people who are like, yeah, doctor, she knows what she's doing. We're going to make this happen. She's going to save everybody. And then everyone else is like, who the hell is this bitch? Implied in those cases.
Well, and then there's that guy, because like then we get the introduction to like, not an introduction to this character, but like the introduction to how badass this character is, where she's like giving those notes, and then the guy's like mopping the floor, and he says, well, I got to take a fucking note from the lady doctor, and then Lieutenant Pound?
Elias Pound.
Pound. Lieutenant. We've already met him, but like the fact that he shows up and just goes, what'd you say? Implied bitch?
Yeah. Yeah, this is a reference to a while viewing conversation that I probably should have been having out of respect to the show we were watching. But yeah, just, when you watch a scene, listeners, and there's just, you feel like you really there was like just a very strong implied bitch at the end. Yeah. So that we were discussing it. There was some strong implied bitch this episode.
Oh, totally. Man. Lil Elias Pound is in his angelic face. God. We're about to get to his nickname. Lil Elias Pound, who goes, what did you say, sir? Bitch? Like, yep.
Pretty much.
So when he showed up last week, I think you were there at this point,
yeah,
Janine.
I saw,
when he showed up last week, I went, oh, because it was just continuing the theme of this show being particularly good at young people casting, like good at all casting. But especially young people casting. This guy, God, I didn't even look up his fucking name. I'm not batting 1,000 today.
We just liked him so much. He doesn't exist other than Pound. Hey, Pound.
Yeah, he's Elias Pound forever. No, because I hope he gets other work because he did a real good job. Anyway.
As a kid.
This bitch, did really well, I thought. I'm curious to know what you thought before I start singing his praises and we get to his nickname. Yeah? I think you're less of an Elias Pound fan than we are.
No, I liked Elias Pound. Can we jump around in the episode here?
Yeah,
I think that's probably good.
I mean, and maybe this was because I was drinking and writing extensive notes in very specific, ridiculously.
Oh, his name is Albie Marber.
Okay.
Oh, could he get cuter?
Albie.
Yeah, but like it was so, like foreshadowed and so lampshaded where we were going with that character that I was only able to appreciate the arc and where we ended up on an intellectual level. So I appreciated it as like as a more heightened element at a shout out to the romance background of the novel and that form of storytelling. But I was not emotionally involved at all. So you guys were like misting up over there. And I was just like yeah, of course he was gonna die. He gave away a rabbit's foot. Like that only if really that clearly that happened. Because if she had just said, "You hold on to it, you'll give it to me later," then he would have survived. And we'd gotten really sick, but he would have pulled through.
I don't think so because you want to know why he was cast. Here comes his nickname. It's because he has perfect doom face.
Oh.
So that's doom face, guys. We're calling him doom face. I quote unquote workshopped this in the Drunkcast Slack this morning, and we talked about this is a hashtag pound die face. We talked about die face. We talked about calling him the human death bunny, which I kind of like, especially because I hadn't seen it yet. And there's the rabbit's foot, but I'm sticking with doom face, especially because then I get to go doom face, 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 doom face. But it's just like when he showed up. The reason I had that reaction last week is because he just looks like someone who is going to tragically die within the hour.
Oh, God.
That angelic little face. Albie.
I apparently was their audience for this because
that's the difference. I'm a book reader, so I knew he was going to die, and that's part of why I was verklempt.
Yeah.
Janine here is just a soft touch.
I was just like hook, line, and sinker. Like, and I don't, obviously this is my third episode ever. And like, I just like.
That's not true.
Huh?
Wedding.
Oh
Finale.
man.
Most of the one fucking by the fire.
Yeah.
Plus the one, so this would be your fourth.
I'm just laughing at the notion of describing a particular episode as fucking by the fire. Isn't it like half the episode?
That's true. But it's the one where she straddles him and then holds the knife to his throat. That's the ultimate firefight. If you ever raise a hand to me again, James Fraser.
Well,
that one.
What I mean to say though is that I don't know this show, so I wasn't really like, I don't know. I know
that's an implied bitch.
I don't know
right in the middle.
I don't know the show's like the vibe of the show as you watch it, so I'm not going to know like how the jazz works. So I just saw this character and went, this character's so cool, and like he's actually really smart and very, very charming, and like really, like I just like this kid. I just love this kid, and then he fucking dies, and I'm just like, well, god damn it!
Welcome to the harsh reality of the 18th century. Bitch.
I also have to ask, how much TV do you watch? Because I watch too much TV. So for me, I just like
that's me too.
I do too. I watch too much TV too. But like I think I think what happens though is when you are involved in a series and you know how the series kind of has its moments.
Yeah, it's language. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I just don't have the language of this. Like
you do too.
I have the language of the story in the general sense. Think about it like this. I have a heavy accent.
Well, and it's filtered through the podcast.
That's true.
I have a heavy accent. I'm not going to get all the jokes, but I'm going to try real hard and nod.
Oh, you're going to get all the jokes.
Well, but they're still going to make me cry when I see a character die.
What you're saying is you're Annika Johansson. Actually, you would be Claire and we would be Annika Johansson.
Yep.
Okay, that means you're an idiot because Claire was being an idiot about Annika today.
Well,
this episode,
I should have seen it coming. The kid was going to die, so I was being a little bit of an idiot.
A little bit of the Claire.
Doomface. I loved him. So many splat sounds. They're all cleaning the decks, and then there's the
big schedule is that. I liked him so many splat sounds.
So many splat sounds. Then there was a lot of conversation about alcohol and poor Elias. By the way, if you didn't know he was going to die, you can watch him do the thing where he licks the grog off his hands. She's like, don't touch anything. Once you've washed your hands, don't touch anything. And the first thing he does is like rub his thumb on the lip of his glass after he licks his fingers. Yeah. And he's like, I'm fucking toast. Also, can we talk about his weird hat thing? I'm obsessed.
We have to talk about the hats.
Okay,
so the hat game, this is the best hats episode. And I say that knowing that we spent half of season 2 in France. Best hats.
They didn't wear a lot of hats. I feel like
big hair though.
Like big hair.
The dudes wear hats.
Yeah, but it's just like I feel like it wasn't as focused, and this was very hat focused costume wise.
And it's also like the second or third episode in a row where I've been like, I love that hat. But this was the best. The best was the unfolded trifold and Annika's little straw.
Her mini trifold.
Teeny. I loved it.
Yeah.
But Elias would do this thing. It looked like, and maybe I know for a fact, again based on the Slack, that we have a listener with a background in the Navy. So maybe you can tell us if the thing where it looked like he was like tweaking like a little yellow spot. It was like every time he did it, I would go because it was like a little.
It looked like a fist bump,
something like the world's tiniest salute, like ding, like just so, didn't make any sense, but I loved it. I'm obsessed. Anyway, after we start talking about the alcohol, then we're all tracking germs all the time. His friend dies. There's that. That's when we learn about that stitching through the nose.
Oh, and that was
not in the books. That was a smart addition.
Great addition. And I think that's actually what got me on the hook, line, and sinker with the kid. Hey,
with an actual hook.
Yeah, with the actual hook.
And like, a line. And a sinker. Holy shit.
Exactly. There was lots of intention there. Accidentally. But yeah, that was such a great
I wonder if that's where hook, line, and sinker comes from. It can't be.
Oh, now I'm looking it up.
It's from fishing at the very least.
Of course.
I mean, yeah.
Well, yeah, actually that would be because it ate everything.
A girl can dream.
Mm.
Anyway, Also, at one point, the name Ben Cole came up when I went to high school with somebody named that.
I would say I did really appreciate the specificity of that. And that when you mentioned while we were watching that, because we watched this together, that wasn't in the books, and it's like that's the kind of detail that would show up in your research if you were researching this kind of thing, which I feel like at the very least the set designers and the costumers and everything are doing. And that's the idea of, I've been listening to a lot of Judge Sean Hodgman, the idea that specificity is the soul of narrative, which is a quote from something else that I don't know what's a quote of, but that's the kind of specificity that really brings a scene like that together, and that they can pay off at the end of the episode like they do. And so having that, like, while it didn't really work for me, it worked for you guys.
It got me so good, yeah.
At the scene, when Claire had to sew the final, those final stitches. And so that's it just really struck me as that's the kind of detail that separates Outlander from other period dramas that are happening right now, or that I've seen in the past, is that they know when to insert like these really specific things from history and from, just different narratives that people have written about their time at sea, like, Conrad and other, other authors. And when to just completely ditch that and go full romance novel, which there's plenty of that in this too. So yeah, I really appreciated that.
Yeah, it was, and it was great because it was a historical detail that they wouldn't have included if it wasn't true, right? Like that's not a thing they'd invent. Yeah. And they found a way to take some factoid that somebody discovered in research and tie it into the story. Like it serves a narrative and thematic function as well as just being an interesting fact. Yeah. Which I think is really cool.
Well, and as soon as they do it the first time, it's coming back later, and that it's going to be somebody you care about, so it means it has to be Elias.
I am Claire.
Yeah.
I did not know that was coming in.
Okay, because Claire also sometimes it gets really weepy, so you're in good company.
It might have been this episode. It might have been a future episode, that kind of thing.
Sure, yeah.
Elias Pound also manages to endear himself to us by, after learning about germs, saying, would it be helpful if we had people who could distill rum down to pure alcohol? And she's like, who are you? Where did you come from? Can I adopt you? I don't know if you know this, but I recently left my child in the future. Can I please attach myself emotionally to you and not be able to use a certain psychological technique that we'll talk about later? Anyway, so it turns out they picked up some people who were involved in the illegal creation of whiskey. And then Claire gets those people to distill pure alcohol for her. And and the purser, I think, says, well, how many casks of alcohol would you like? And Claire looks him in the face and says, how many men would you like me to save? Bitch. That's actually where implied bitch came up. But there were multiple in this episode. It was great. One of my favorite Katrina Buff moments in the whole show so far. I loved it. It was so funny. And then Elias's friend dies. My next note is, does he make peach Melba? You want to take this one?
Okay, yeah. So if anyone knows about Typhoid Mary, she was a carrier, but someone who did not show any of the symptoms of typhus and typhoid fever. Yeah, right? Typhoid fever. And she was a cook. It was the only way she knew. She was an immigrant who had very limited skill set. It was the only way she knew to make a living. And people would try to tell her, okay, you can't be a cook because you have this disease. She's like, I feel fine. Fuck y'all, I need to work. And so she kept making, her specialty was Peaches Melba, which was ice cream with peaches on top. But because it wasn't cooked, any of the germs that she would pass on to it wouldn't be cooked off and like sanitized. And so that's how she infected lots of people and ended up, stuck on an island for the rest of her life in horrible conditions.
Oh yeah, this is all true. You didn't know this, Janine?
No, I just learned. Yeah. That's a lot to learn just now. That's oh wow.
Yeah, that's real.
That's
weird. I'm a huge nerd. Yeah. So when they're like, he's totally not sick, but he works with the cook, I'm like, And then they mentioned the smashed peaches also to make alcohol, and I was just like, I feel like that had to be a shout out to the nerds like me watching.
That's great.
Well, that was also a welcome to the podcast moment. That was like, they'll drink anything. They'll let peaches ferment in their boot. They'll take somebody's sweat and roll it around in whiskey barrels until it vaguely smells like whiskey. They will boil a fish in the bottom of a pot until it's just bones, and then distill the bones into water, and then distill the water into alcohol, and then they'll lick it off the floor. Like, it was a real Lindy. Mostly it was just the peach boot booze, though. But now I feel like sometime, maybe when we do a show at Empirical, we can convince them to drop peaches into boots for us or something.
If we
Probably
can
not.
Maybe we can try to convince them to make it the Friday Frickin'.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Probably not. Sorry, bro. No, but we'll have to. Maybe when we do the finale, we'll find a way. I'll find some boot steins. Are they just called boots?
Boot steins?
Boots.
Bits?
I don't know.
I got a boot mug.
I'm gonna go get some boot mugs. I'm gonna put peaches in them now so that they'll be ready by the time the show comes
My
back.
mug only fits one peach, so you don't need to buy many.
Okay, cool. Anyway, they find Typhoid Mary and throw him in the brig. See what we did?
Yeah.
I kind of prefer ship jail, but we're gonna. And he's really pissed, understandably. And then we cut from one person in jail to another. Oh wait, no, I'm skipping. I wrote badass headband Claire, Seven Dwarfs hat cook. That was another good hat. There's a showdown with the cook who ends up basically being the token adversarial threatening male. Because every episode needs one of those. So he got all up in her face.
Yeah, he was really
all the time.
fucking alpha.
He sucked.
You know what was more memorable to me was the fact of very conscious inclusion of, well, because that's not as a book reader, of the feminine through Annika, which is what I wasn't expecting. It's very clearly a safe space when she's, with her, when they're together. And it's very they code her as feminine as you possibly could. And but also home and hearth, a very specific subset of feminine representation in that. So I wasn't surprised by just the masculine and as a threat constantly. But it was really neat to see her show up and then just be badass.
Yeah. I can't wait to talk about Anakin. Maybe it's just time. Wait, no, not yet.
It might be
because
time.
Jamie's Ralphing in the jail.
Oh, yeah.
So Jamie's a dick. They're doing a nice job this season of making him less fictional, I guess. He's there was that line last week about him being the king of all men, which I just went ugh, but also, yeah, okay, that's fair. Because of the way he's depicted on the show. But it's been kind of a while. I mean, Jamie spent most of season 2, except for when he was trying to kill Black Jack Randall by stabbing him through the dick. He spent most of season 2 not being a huge asshole, recovering from being raped, which he'll probably be recovering from his entire life. So maybe I should cut him some fucking slack, Allison. Yeah. But no, Janine doesn't agree. Okay. Well, anyway.
He
was mostly not a huge dick. And then the last couple episodes, every once in a while, I'm like, what is your problem, bro? I get you've had a really hard life. I understand that. But just try to be less of an asshole. He was such a dick, such a dick, and he was such. And you know what? You can't be a dick to Fergus at this point. You just can't. First you enlisted him in your terrifying crime circle in Paris. Then he got his fucking hand chopped off for you. Then you roped him into smuggling and shit. Then you shamed him when he wanted to marry your no longer stepdaughter. And now you're well, you're gonna pick a pocket for me, and then we're gonna try to mutiny the ship. It's totally gonna fail, but you're gonna die, and so am I because I love my wife. That's not a sound argument. It makes no sense. And I want to raise a glass to César Domboy, who I thought did a really nice job of being oh, yes, monsieur. Yeah, okay. I do not think this is a good idea. Because then he sounds Scottish for a while. Thanks, Janine, for the reminder.
I was because you've mentioned him before, and I actually haven't really heard him talk, and actually hearing the accent this time, and hearing the.
It's really cool, isn't
really
it?
Interesting.
I love this very specific patois of oh, I do not know what to do, but I think I would like some more whiskey. You can. Like that. I just love it. So basically he says, you have to break me out of this ship jail so we can have a mutiny
with 7
party.
people.
We can mutiny on the. I tried really hard to come up with a mutiny on the bounty joke, and I just didn't have one. If either of you have one,
no.
Okay. And Fergus the whole time is okay. And at the end, Jamie's like, "Listen, you've just proved to me.
We're on a TV show. It'll turn out just fine."
Yeah, and then
fair point.
And then he does the whole fucking "I'll give you, I'll bless you."
You've proven to me that you don't know what love is because you won't free me from jail. So if you free me from jail, then I'll let you marry my no longer stepdaughter.
Motherfucker.
The person I am not technically related to.
Just being a dick.
And again, I love how invested y'all are in that. And I was just going like, this feels like a really ham-fisted way to force heaven and earth into this scene. Like the later scene, I specifically have a color-coded note about that. Hagen is good in his heaven and earth speech, but it's so painfully writerly. And it really is. It comes back later, and the later scenes work a lot better. But it's just like, let's see how we get, like, and when in my film class I took in high school, like we had to make a short film, and we're like, okay, gotta make sure we find a way to fit the title into this, because that's the kind of thing you do when you're in high school, and also when you're Outlander, apparently sometimes. Yeah. Because the other, it's that, and the voiceover was just killing me. The writing this week, because you could have cut all of it, every single word of voiceover.
I am a mild voiceover defender in most circumstances, because when it's good, it's usually describing an experience that we couldn't otherwise, right? Like the one about the vase, or going through the stones. There's that great one about being about how it feels like going, when she was in the car accident, went off the bridge, and like all that shit. But this was like stuff we already knew. The worst was when she figured out the goats.
The goats was super silly.
Not only do we already know, we knew a lot, but we were like way before you did. My goats need grass. Okay.
Okay, person who doesn't speak
Me do
English.
not understand you.
Like, the best I have for that is a note about, like, I guess it really speaks to Claire's privilege and her prejudice that she's just like, oh, it's so cute. She's just simple. And she's like, goats need grass.
Lay.
Absolutely. And we're sitting at the couch and we're like, what is wrong with you?
Claire, get it together. And then Janine goes, oh, I just got that. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I was glad I was with them, actually.
Anyway, proves you do not ken what love is, but I want you to show me. Sorry.
Fucking bullshit.
Can't you? So Claire gets her tri-corner hat. I was really excited about that. They work overtime to make sure that we love Albie Marber, who plays Elias Pound. I'm just going to keep saying Albie.
Yeah, I know. Albie was... I also want to give Claire a big shout out for this, or Katrina Buffman. Because I think because I don't know if Albie's a kid, and like he did a good job like in the direction he was given, and like I appreciate the work he did, but I think the connection was built through like that kind of.
Oh, she was great.
She did great, and like building that relationship with that kid actor. Yeah, who wasn't given a lot to do.
You know what? If you want to see a kid actor who does not rely on a grown up being good to knock your fucking socks off, make time to see The Florida Project. Jesus Christ! I know this is a little tangent, and we're not allowed to talk about Junior at all today. Yeah, no. But see The Florida Project. It's Sean Baker's movie. It's in theaters across the country. I think slowly expanding to more theaters. Anyway, it's very good. And the star is like, have you seen it yet?
No.
I think she's like 7 years old max, and she's so fucking good. Anyway,
do it.
Jamie's in jail, puking his guts out. We already did that. Tom just gave us a thumbs up.
Yeah.
I just want you to know Neil never gives us thumbs up, Tom.
Yeah.
Oh, he won't speak.
He's doing what Neil did last time.
No. He's slowly closing his office door.
I look forward to the Podlander Drugcast fan art of just like, there's no one there. There is no Tom.
We haven't had any fan art yet. Overdue. Have you ever had any fan art from the Televerse?
I've had one of our listeners, Carl, is amazing, and he made us a Monopoly game for the Televerse for our 100th or 200th episode.
Oh,
You've done 200 episodes?
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
We've done it for 7 years.
Oh, my God.
Every single week. Yeah.
We just got to 50.
Yeah, our last...
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We felt like we were such
3-hour podcast. I feel ya.
Oh, man. Jeez, I can't even... 200. I just got verklempt again.
It's a very good podcast, and they talk about
sweet.
so much shit.
Yeah. Anyways, doesn't matter. But yeah.
Anyway.
Motivated.
What I'm hearing is that listeners, y'all need to step up.
Oh, I don't know about
That's
that.
what I'm
I had
hearing.
2 separate people tell me in the last 4 days that they specifically bought us beer because of our 50th episode. One of them lives in Honolulu, and she's sending it to us from Honolulu.
That's
that
very
real?
The
exciting.
other one is Molly Mullen. Hi, Molly, who I think will be doing a show with us in December, who is visiting from Colorado and brought us beer from Colorado. So, Monopoly game is better, but beer. Come on, that's really cool.
That's very, very cool.
Cannot wait for that beer. It's gonna be so great.
It's so neat. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Then we get to the nose stabbing, and this is my note. First it says new hackles. Then it says stitching through the nose. It's a thing a friend should do. And Julie, I just want you to know, if you ever die at sea, I will absolutely thread a needle through your nose. Although, you know what? Never mind. I'm actually not going to reveal that detail of Julie's life. She totally died at sea once already.
That made it better.
Anyway, Julie, girl, if you're listening. Anyway, then there's a funeral where everybody takes their hats off, and Claire forgets to take her hat off like an asshole. And then, and I also wrote ship full of jacking. Man, some of those extras, like people who I don't think had any lines, were just standing there watching these bodies be dumped into the ocean, just clenching their jaws for all they were worth, just like, not crying. And I thought it was
I'm actually
good.
curious if, like, because at the end of the episode where they talk a little bit about the set and stuff like that, where they talk about how that was a real ship and they built it and like it felt very real. I'm curious if like that help the extra actors feel a part of this crew.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so it like instilled in them that ability to go, oh fuck man, like jacting.
It was good jacting.
Yeah. Wow.
At first I thought all of them were being wrapped in flags. And then I imagined that every time that you got on a ship, everybody had to bring their own flag just in case they died.
Jesus.
I was imagining like accidentally stumbling into the room full of flags. I was like, you're probably not gonna die. But in case,
I mean, at the very least,
for like 400 flags on the ship.
well, because I think, they must usually be stitched up in like sailcloth or something.
Yeah.
But that was a ship full of 400 people, and they were down to like 200 people. So how do they still have fucking sails? Like, where did all that fabric come from?
Oh, it might have been their cot.
Oh, their hammock.
Yeah.
You're a genius. It almost certainly was their hammock. I think that might even be in the book.
Are hammocks cloth or are they rope?
No, they're canvas.
Okay.
And so like because they're made of the same material, which
As
I'm
the
sure,
sails,
which
yeah.
I'm gonna just jump on a limb and like one of our Patreon people who's actually a naval person who can correct me later. I would assume that maybe they could use them as extra sails should they be needed. So that kind of thing.
Oh, I'm sure it was their hammock. But then also, if they were doing the slow drip coffee, then that was not a great way to
Well, let's be honest. By the time they were like 100 people into the 400 person ship,
they were just
they're just throwing the bodies.
She's like, get out of here, guy.
It's like, oh, there's a new person here. Let's pretend like we're not hardened to it.
Here's the thing that I can't tell if I'm sick of them doing it on the show because I'm sick of them doing it on the show, or if I'm sick of them doing it on the show because I'm really tired of this bullshit in real life. And I think it might be the latter. But it feels like every time Claire is impressive, there's some dude in the background going like, I don't trust her. She knows too much. And I just kept waiting for somebody to be like, she's probably a witch. And I think it's just that I'm I'm so tired.
Yeah.
It does feel a little bit like that happens quite often.
Well, in the defense of these terrible
It's true.
dudes, yes. And she is a really bad time traveler. Like, she
She's
remains a
very
very
bad.
bad time traveler,
Yeah.
which I find her. Just wait until we start talking about her bum roll. Anyway.
But I was noticing the opposite. I was like, they were going out of their way to have like dudes be like, I fully support this lady doctor. I don't think she's a witch at all. I think you should listen to her and die. And like, ship's cook, shut the fuck up. Like, I feel like there was actually like, I
Like
was
too
noticing
much?
no, not too much, but just I was like, I have it in my note like, I'm just gonna choose to be excited about this rather than think it's like not
Ooh.
likely because it's kind of refreshing.
Well, actually, too, if you think about it, all the people who are having big like a trouble with her were older people who had like learned these things.
Well, and I think they were all also in positions of power. Like I wonder if like the guy like Happy, I think nameless guy who was at first like they'll drink peaches out of a boot, and then later he was the one that was like, do you appreciate that sound? That's the sound of people not dying. Way to go, strange lady. I feel like he was not in a position of power, and Elias Pound obviously outranked a lot of the other dudes on the ship, but was a child.
Yeah, and that, like, because the captain was also more or less a child.
Yes.
Like, he's a young, very young man, and he wasn't actually supposed to be in that position of power. But all the position of powers that were non-commissioned officers, if you want to say it that way, like, they were all dicks.
Yeah.
Like, they were just like, oh, a lady, fuck you. And it's like, well, maybe get over yourself, dickhole.
Well, there's probably also some animosity between the NCOs and the older people who've been doing this way longer.
Yeah,
and
sure.
they've got some little kid bossing around. The kid's like, you better be nice to this lady. It's like, shut up. Everybody knows ladies are bad luck on ships, and we're all dying. And I can't believe
probably on her period.
I can't believe I have to listen to a
I'm glad
14-year-old.
They didn't actually make that joke, did they? Because that would have fucking set me over the edge.
No.
Okay, good.
We did though.
Hey.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
God, there was another thing I was going to say about that, and I can't remember. See, I've had enough beers. Everything's fine.
It's fine.
We were talking about the patting
the
bad bum roll.
Oh, the bum roll.
We'll get there. No, because it was something about the nice guy or maybe the mean guy. I don't remember. And then Claire invented compartmentalizing. That tickled me a whole ton. We're getting there. Jesus Christ, we got to talk faster.
For everyone else, it's a later evening for us. That's another reason why we're kind of
because Kate teaches fucking children to fucking play the fucking violin during the day. We started late tonight.
You know, stop.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all. Oh,
yeah. Anyway, we're trying to keep it to an hour. It's not going to happen, but we're going to be close to an hour if it kills
abandoned
me.
entire colors of my notes.
Don't abandon your notes, Jesus. Claire inverts compartmentalizing. I kind of loved that scene.
That was a great scene.
Where he was like, how on earth are you not a mess right now? She's like, oh, well, it's this technique that's sure to end up biting you in the ass eventually, just so you know.
Here's the thing, I served in a world war, so this is kind of nothing.
Did you watch that clip from the Doctor Who Christmas special yet?
Not yet, but I will seek it out.
Okay, there's a thing we should discuss. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, why did you make that noise?
I can't figure out. It doesn't matter. We're on a train, and I love Doctor Who, and I want to talk about Doctor Who, but we're on Outlander right now.
Okay. You know what? You go to hell.
Yeah.
Bitch.
I love Doctor Who.
Another time.
Yeah.
So Claire invents compartmentalizing, and she and Elias have this heart-to-heart, and then he gives her the Death Bunny rabbit's foot. I cannot fucking believe that we were right about the goddamn Death Bunny. I cannot believe it. That was the one that I thought was like the funny joke. But no, there was the Death Bunny, and then there was the Crib Bunny, and then Brianna loved rabbits. And then there's the rabbit's foot, and I was like, oh, there are so many rabbits. And then in the thing after the show, which I know all of you listening watch because you're seeking out Outlander podcast content, so of course you watch the bonus after the show shit. When she was like, oh, well, it's continuing the rabbit theme, I was like, I can't fucking believe that. Like the bird, that one, that I get. Like that one we called, albeit in a kind of a different way, but that was too obvious. But the bunny
it's very subdued. And the fact that, like, I imagine at some point in their writing room, they're just like, and so where's the bunny in this episode?
Yeah, I can
go back.
Absolutely see Ron Moore saying that.
Yeah.
We gotta work another bunny in here.
Hey, yeah. Anyone seen that bunny suicide book?
And you're like the facial motions happening here as you talk are also perfect for Ron Moore.
Am I?
Are you?
He does.
Oh, because he's is he the guy with the mustache?
No, he's not the guy with the mustache, but he's like on the Battlestar things.
Yeah.
Lots of this.
I mean, men with beards, this is what we do. Yeah.
Matt Davis is the one with the Errol Flynn facial hair.
We just caress ourselves all the time. Because it's itchy.
Okay. Moving right along.
Okay. So
I like how we have no Junior, but plenty of other tangents.
Yes. Well, I mean, that said, we have now mentioned Junior like 4 different times.
Yeah.
That's my fault.
Yeah.
Anyway, he gives her the rabbit's foot, and Claire gets all emotional because she fucking forgot to compartmentalize. No, the thing she forgot to compartmentalize was finally somebody comes up and there's like, hey, someone else is sick.
Oh, yeah.
And she runs to the goat pen, which is cool as hell, which means we get to talk about Annika now, and I'm stoked about that. But she's like, oh, wait, no, this guy doesn't have typhus. Oh, this motherfucker drank pure alcohol. What the hell? And then she throws a temper tantrum.
Yeah.
And I wrote, Claire, girl, you forgot to compartmentalize. Like, it was just having a conversation about controlling your emotions, and then she loses her goddamn mind because of this poor drunk fool. And then Annika Johansson's like, he gonna be okay? And she's freaking out. She's like, but he's gonna be okay? Cool. Okay. Here are my goats. I'm here to be a lifeline to you.
Yeah.
I'm Earth Mother.
Yeah.
Hearth and home.
Yeah.
Hi, Tom. You good?
Again, Ghost Tom in the fan art. I'm just saying.
And then she swears a whole bunch. Yeah. And you can see unnamed nice guy and Elias Pound, played by Albie, what's his face, are both like, whoa, dude, did you hear all those curse words she just said? That was awesome. I guess she's a cool girl. Anyway, I love it. And then Annika says something about feeding the goats and the milk and whatever, and then goes, keep do? And I need that on an inspirational poster stat. I liked her so much. I should look up that lady's name. Mm-hmm. You responded particularly positively to old Annika Johansson, yes?
Yeah, well, because initially as I was watching, I was trying to get a handle on the character and what her role was, aside from like just the clearly her representing femininity and home and all these different things, like a different form of femininity than Claire, but not that far off in certain ways. And so I was just like trying, it was such a heightened, like, the writing and the performance and everything. And so I was like, what's going on here? Because and then later it feels like they're making fun of her. It's like, but they're not. Oh, it's because she's writing Claire's being an idiot. And I kind of love them going. It's like, again, it's a more broad, more, like if you're watching like TV, like it's a puzzle, which is a stupid broken way to watch, but the way that I so often do.
Mm-hmm.
Then
because like, you can't help it.
Yeah, I can't help it. Even a couple beers in it just makes it worse.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can see what they're doing with the character, and it's just she's there to be underestimated and then respected all the more, and the good that she provides the ship and Claire just emphasized. And so I was really appreciating the performance and the way that it's tries to blend between heightened and like ridiculous, but not like they want to set her up as a laugh line and then make you feel bad for laughing at her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think that they do that well enough for me that I wasn't frustrated, because I always get annoyed when they're like, see, oh yeah, you shouldn't have laughed at her, you bad. Which is, some shows love to do that. They love to shame their audiences, and this one doesn't do that. They nudge up to that line, but they never quite go to it, and I appreciated that with this character.
I also think they do a nice job with the goats line we were talking about. Granted, Janine didn't get it, and I've read the books, but Kate hasn't read the books and was like, oh, well, Claire, you're stupid. She's like, well, you're missing the point. And I think that that's what we're supposed to feel. Yeah. Where Claire's like, oh, okay. But obviously goats. She's not like, oh, feed them the goats, right? Like, it's much more, she's communicating something, like, and Claire's just not understanding it.
It's like, there's dudes all around and they're listening, so like there's a language barrier, but also like lady code, you're with me, right? And Claire's like, no.
In our in Claire's and my defense, Claire was using a lot of big words quickly for someone who didn't necessarily seem to understand them. So like it. I got no argument here. No, we were just being dumb.
I have good news. I think this is cool. Some of the other titles that Chanel de Jager has been in include Knee Deep in the Warm Water. It's Swedish, maybe. Langsan Vandermeer van Citrain format. Jimmy in Piank. S'more Verlief.
S'more?
Yeah, so they hired somebody. It's not like somebody putting on a thick accent. They hired an actress who's from
biography.
It's a very short bio.
Oh.
Anyway, not a native English speaker, somewhere from presumably a Nordic or German country. Dutch. That all looks super Dutch to me. Fun fact, Holland, Michigan is the second largest population of Dutch people outside of the Netherlands, which is like 20 minutes from where I grew up.
I think Chicago
shows up in Mahler. That's all I can tell you. I know. I was like, I know that.
Yeah. That's how I am with French sometimes. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I remember that. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna keep going because Janine's gonna kill me. So
let's definitely put this on me.
Claire sees I'm not putting it on you. I'm putting it on me. I'm saying you'll kill me. Claire sees a Portuguese flag and freaks the fuck out that it's the Bruja, I think she says. And it wasn't. But then she goes looking for the captain. Oh, that's why. Because she goes to try to figure out what ship it was in the ship's log and then stumbles onto this entry where the captain is like, oh, so Alexander Malcolm is using an alias and his alias is Jamie Fraser. Well, it's the reverse.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, no, but he has it backwards. Anyway, and as it turns out, Bad Eye Broody is on the ship. And
fucking Bad Eye Broody.
And we'll get there in a second because he has like a soliloquy. It's a little weird.
It's a bit much. Yeah.
I mean, he does a really good job with it, but it's a bit much. But before that, the cook comes in. I wrote, "Why are all thick-middled dudes such creeps on this show?" He says, "I don't like you." Then there's like a really uncomfortable, badly timed moment just in the world where Claire suggests that she's going to accuse him of attempting to rape her.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that like 3 episodes ago, Jamie was like, if we say this guy was in your quarters, they're going to say that you invited him there and it doesn't matter whether or not he forced himself on you or not. No one believes women. It's just not a good look. And also just like this episode was written by a dude and I just and
if we back up for a second too, where she like does talk about how like she has the trust of the captain. So like that,
it's a very specific situation.
Yeah. But I mean, I completely agree with like the context in which that's being offered is trouble.
Well, and in the context as reviewers of #MeToo, I mean, it's a very. I was watching this going like, I have notes about it. Like, how do I feel about? Like, I do think that's the kind of thing that Claire would do in this situation. I don't think she's above doing that. I just think the way that we interact with art as viewers, you can't help but bring. And if you try to divorce yourself from your daily experience when you're interacting with art, you're just gonna lie to yourself about what you're experiencing. Yeah. So I don't think it lands too well for us.
And then if you want to take some extra leaps into societal biases and what exists in that regard, like people who watch this shit, who might take this, understanding it's fiction, but then taking it saying like,
well, clearly
this is a tactic that is used in a situation where they feel uncomfortable or whatever it might be, and to then like have that transferred into reality, where it's such a tense, sensitive subject right now that we have to be honest with the people who are actually speaking up. And to like have any sort of fodder to say that it's not true or to like use that in any sort of way. It does feel poorly timed.
Yeah. I mean, also because he was physically threatening her. So she could have also just said, I'll tell him you physically threatened me.
Yeah.
He was all up in her face.
Yeah.
Well, how do you okay, we don't have the time for this, but very quickly, how do you guys feel about the show's interactions with domestic abuse and specifically sexual assault? Because it's done such a terrific job with, specifically around the end of season 1 and what Black Jack, like the horrific abuse that he just piles onto Jamie, and this horrible, it's so painful to watch those 2 episodes, but so necessary, I think, in the way it handled it. It's such a beautiful way of handling the lingering, just lifelong effects of physical and emotional and psychological and sexual assault. But this is a show that loves to go to the sexual assault, like, threat realm so much. How do you guys, like, as regular podcasters of the show, how do you engage with that? Does it frustrate? Like, when we had the big return episode and it ends with a rape, there's like, seriously, you guys are fucking kidding me. The very first episode they're back together, you have to throw a rape threat. It can't just be like a violence threat. It has to be a rape threat.
Well, I was frustrated by that too. In the books, that scene happens, but first of all, Claire doesn't kill that guy. Somebody else does. And it's more of a suggestive, well, why don't you help me out and I'll help you out and then we can have a roll in the hay. And it's not welcomed, but it's not the threat of violence.
Yeah.
So that one in particular was frustrating for me. That's the first one where I was like, no. But then I also have read a number of people who work on the show, specifically Terry Dressbach, talking about how one of the things that's important to them is to show how both then and now relentlessly, unceasingly violent the world is for women, often particularly for outspoken women, to exist in. So I understand philosophically what it is, but that was, especially having read the books and knowing some of the things in the future, and I won't go into detail about what those are, but it will not surprise anybody who's paid any attention to the show to know that, like, both the lingering effects of trauma, of like extremely traumatic events, and also the realities of existing in a violent world, especially if you're a woman, continue to be important things. But knowing that those things are going to continue to be explored, adding that one particular sort of needless one really irked me. That said, they also cut some things, specifically because they're doing a much better job than I even hoped of dealing with Mr. Willoughby, who in the books does some it's all foot related, like a lot of unwanted foot attention that's just really messed up.
They lean hard into that foot binding thing kind of concept.
Sort of.
Yeah. Interesting.
Anyway, that one really bothered me. For the most part, I'm a defender of the way the show approaches. Like, there's just even that one scene where Claire and Jamie are doing it in like the heather, right? And then somebody comes up and threatens to kill Jamie and threatens to rape Claire, and it's a whole that we spend the rest of the episode really dealing with Claire kind of reeling from that and Jamie reeling from that. And then that's to say nothing of all the things that they experience when everything that happens at the end of season 1 is then like through all of season 2 and is still happening. And when we are looking at the way that that coin face and Jamie's relationship changes and develops, it's like that's got Blackjack Randall all over it because you can't escape those things. So, so for the most part, I think they handle it really well, but that one really bothered me. And this, it felt like there could have been a different kind of threat. So, back to Marsali cleaning Fergus's stump.
It just points to the intimacy of their relationship. It's a nice little touch.
In case any of you feel like you accidentally just skipped like 3 minutes, what happened is we were having this conversation about rape culture, essentially, which, by the way, I have a note like halfway down the page here that says Dreamweaver, rape culture. So I'm just going to, anyway, we'll get that out now. And then Kate, just like a total pro, holds up her phone, and on her phone it says, I'm going to need to take a bathroom break sometime soon. So we stopped. She went and used the powder room, came back, and Janine was like, you got this? I was like, sure. Stump cleaning. So anyway, so Marsali and Fergus are talking about how Fergus is going to attempt to use his pickpocket skills, but with one hand this time. And he's an adult and not a child. And like he hasn't done that in so long that Jamie had to remind him he used to pick pockets. This is such a bad plan. Anyway, and Marsali is like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
You're going to freaking abandon me on this ship with all these dudes.
Yeah.
There's no way I don't end up horribly raped over and over and over again and probably dead.
And you know what? That is a great example of how Outlander can do this shit right.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, she's going to be the only woman on a ship full of dudes who are just surrounded by dudes, and also think women are unlucky, or are also pissed
and pissed at the people who just tried to do a mutiny.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she's with them.
Oh, and not all of them are there voluntarily. And no. Anyway, so Fergus is like, no, you're right, dude, you're totally right. And then they start making out, and I have to say, it's a pretty hot little scene, but I could not stop thinking about germs. The whole time, I just couldn't stop thinking about germs.
I don't have context for how old these actors or characters are, but like I was just like, okay, no, but like Jamie and Claire aren't around, so yeah, we gotta get some Boney in this show, right? So here it goes.
Marsley rhymes with parsley. She was like, that's the reaction I would have had. Her argument is basically, if you're gonna risk your life, we're gonna fuck now, please. I mean, like, technically we're married. Just because Jamie doesn't think we're married doesn't mean we're not technically married. We're hand fast.
It's like,
we're married.
I know you're getting super props for not having sex with me because it's like you're a dude, so it's assumed that you want to have sex with me more than I want to have sex with you. But this is freaking Outlander, so shut the fuck up with that.
Totally. And it disappointed me that I could not stop thinking about germs, but I just couldn't. And he's like, no, we must wait. Milo would want me to wait for marriage. And he leaves to talk to Jamie, and she's all like, "Buh," which is fine because I think a lot of viewers were probably like,
Are you kidding with this?
I have to admit, it would be, with all of the boning we've got on the show, I could do with a little hot Fergus scene.
Listen, I was ready.
Your body was ready.
I was just... You guys are taking notes, and I was just like, yeah, boning. Here we go.
No, shit boning.
Motion in the ocean.
The next note I have says, Claire asks about Harry Tompkins because of the ship's diary. She tells Elias Pound that Tompkins might be a carrier. And then I wrote in all capital letters, do not lie to a doomface. I was so mad. I was so mad that she lied to him.
That was the next step of her, like, poor decision-making
I know. It only gets worse from there.
Yeah.
Forcing him to die because of just narrative irony, dramatic irony. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, well, let me put it this way. In the books, he just dies because he's the person helping her with all the sick people. So of course he fucking dies.
Of course he did. But I'm just saying, like, if she didn't have an extra reason to be guilty about it, maybe he'd be less likely to die. It's like, and I lied to him was the last thing I said.
Yeah. Oh, I really hope they come back with that at some point.
Probably not. Let's be honest. There's going to be more people for her to be guilty about in the future.
That's true.
So he already had that milky eye, and Bad Eye Broody shows back up, and he just...
I just love that name so much.
That was a collaborative effort. I'm proud of that one. It's no coin face, which is the best nickname second best nickname we've ever come up with. Pamplemousse is the best.
The first,
But I like Bad Eye Broody. Anyway, he gets like... It's like that scene in Chicago where, God, what is his name? Oh my God, it's been so long since I was a music theater nerd, and then everybody,
Mr. Cellophane.
No, the lawyer, Billy Flynn.
Ooh.
Yeah, literally everyone who's paid any attention to the show just laughed.
There's a bunch of guys in that show.
Yeah, no, everybody just laughed that I said I'm not a music theater nerd anymore. No, Billy Flynn has that cross-examination number that's a tap solo
tap
too.
number,
Yeah. And it was like that. It was like, spotlight on.
Yeah.
Now it's Bad Eye Broody's turn. And he has this long, crazy monologue. And the only reason I could think it would even exist... Well, so like two possible reasons. One is that the writers were just in love with that guy, which is totally possible because he was really good. Yeah. The other is that somehow it was supposed to make Claire feel empathy for him, which would have been great, but I don't see any evidence of that at all. She picks up that bone saw, and I kept waiting for her to put it back down, and then she just doesn't. She's just like, nope, I'm straight up ready to cut you the whole time.
That's a pretty big moment for her. Like that, she's been presented with moments like that in the past and not made that choice. So it shows progression. Yeah.
Into the dark.
First do no harm. And it's not just that she lies to get him in there and then threatens his life. Then she puts him in the fucking ship jail. And it's like, hey, I wouldn't get too close to that guy. You're going to get typhoid and die. And walks away. And then runs away. And that dude is still in ship jail. Yeah. And he's totally going to get typhoid and die.
Yeah. I don't really feel bad, though, because he was going to kill Wee Ian, so...
Yeah, no killing Wee Ian.
It did feel a little bit like Bad Eye Broody's, like, soliloquy. I mean, it helped me a lot, because
I wrote The Ballad of Bad Eye Broody on there.
you gave me a heads up and said Bad Eye Broody, and I was like... And I had, like, a half recognition of where I remember that from. And then he talks about, like, getting the lead in the face and all this stuff, and I was like, well, hello, exposition. Thank you very much. I remember you, sir. Don't die yet.
Well, and it's also there to let us know that they didn't necessarily want him speaking out, so they stuck him on a ship, so that means that there's more machinations underway. But, like, that's going to come to, like, for me, it's in my music notes because the scoring starts out as adventure happy scoring, which is what happens when it's like, oh no, this thing's going to happen. But as soon as the music is upbeat or so triplets or 16th notes, you know that it's going to be exciting and not actually dread. And then but while he's speaking, it starts out as that. So, you know, he's not at the threat, but then it changes to like tremolo and held pitches. Specifically, the show loves perfect fourths and fifths, which we can talk about on a different episode at some point. So, but it shifts in like while he's talking, so you know that the dread is real, the threat is real, but it's not from him. And so, like, that's what I was taking away from that.
I have a question.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I need to set the scene for you. First of all, this is just a little tease for what it's going to be like when we do a just music episode. It's going to be so fucking awesome. I watched a couple weeks ago. Kate came over to watch an episode of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend with me, and I learned so much about the show.
Yeah.
The cat's out here wandering around now. I learned so much about the show just from talking to her about the music. It was great, and this is a conversation with Kate, and it was great. But as she was saying all that, Janine's face just went like, "Buh."
It's just like
he was a regular doom face. It was like angelic surprise.
Can I ask my question?
Yeah.
Do you feel clairvoyant with this music knowledge you have?
No, it depends on the show. But with this show, they have a good composer when they actually call him in to do the stuff. Yeah. Which is a conversation for off mic. But
I think Allison told me part of that.
Yeah. And so you can track because of the compositional style of Bear McCreary and on this show and other shows that he's done, when he's really focusing in on where the show requires it, you can tell based on characterization. And I actually have a theory based on this because I'm going back and taking notes for that eventual music episode.
It's going to be so good.
I'm in season 1 though. I get like a whole dedicated notes journal for that.
Yeah.
But my current theory is that as the show develops, they add orchestration depending on the different areas they go. So when they go to France, they add the Baroque cello. When they go to these different, and right now you guys have already commented on the orchestration for the West Indies, which is a lot of lower percussion and these different rhythms that are happening. And initially I thought it was like they're pivoting as they go to these different places, but in this episode, Fergus gets a lot of cello. And I was like, that's not in season 1 in the same way. It does show up here and there, but it's not in the same way. And I think it's because he's from France. So that's why the cello shows up for him when his sex scene is a lot of cello. And that is not what happens with Claire and Jamie most of the time with them.
That is such
Isn't that cool?
This, Allison described me well. My face derped.
Right? but because
interesting
on this show, and there's enough depth to it. You can also do a similar analysis, for example, on the scoring that they use on Battlestar Galactica and The Walking Dead often, based on where they are in the show, what the plot is doing. It's because basically they pay enough to warrant it, to allow the composers to spend enough time to do that, and because the composers are interested in doing it. The big show for that, if you want, is Hannibal, which is amazing scoring and really intense, like really meaningful scoring and soundtrack choices. But you can also see that, and I'm guessing as I go through and I get more work into my music scoring journal for this show, I will continue to see that. So right now I'm on season 1 with my rewatch and heavy note taking, but based on this episode, I'm guessing that that's what I'm going to find. So it's very interesting. And the percussion is like, I really love this version of the theme, for example.
Me too.
It works really well. And so like seeing the idea of certain characters we will see pop up again in certain points, I think it's, anyone who watches TV will not be surprised by that. I'm not going to say more. We'll just keep threading into that.
I want you to know that we also have a specific shorter name for what you called the happy adventure music. Mm-hmm. And that gets shorter as longer. But what we do is we kick your hands
in the grog and the things happen and the buttercup and adventures and land.
And I got so mad when they used the kick and punch and fight and drink happy adventure music in First Wife, when they were fighting and then they were fucking and then they used the happy adventure. It was like, this is not happy adventure.
This is not. Yes, it's a comedy when Jemmy shows up, but that is not what we're going for.
Yeah, you could wait and use that music once she throws the water on them. Kick and fight and punch and that's fine. Okay. Yeah. Back to notes. Okay. That was awesome. This is the second time in the last month that we've had somebody come on the show where we got like educated. Because we have a bonus episode that is, unfortunately, the sound quality is not as good as we had hoped because I fucked up, not because Janine fucked up.
Thank you.
But
I wasn't there, so I fucked up there. Let's put it that way.
Keenan, Sweet Nothings NYC, came on to talk to us about lingerie, about historical lingerie. It's fucking awesome. You guys are going to get that episode this week. You Patreon guys, I should say. Everybody else, sometime in December. Anyway, then she gets goat cheese.
I would just keep thinking, like, how excited would you be about getting goat cheese again? You'd be like, oh,
are you
I thought I would never see goat cheese again.
I was like, that's the best. If that's like, what I have to do to get fresh goat cheese, I will get on a flagship right now.
Go punch the cook in the face and make an omelet. Like, that's how I feel.
Oh, God, it was so good. Oh, well, then also the dead body came out of the creme de menthe. Yeah. That was not green enough. We were uniform.
Yeah.
Not bloated enough, not green enough.
That person was far too
fresh.
Composed.
Yeah.
God, it must have smelled so bad.
Rotting meth.
She gives her goat cheese. That's a fucking delicacy, that is. Okay, so then Annika Johansson tries to say, my goats need grass, my goats need grass, and my goats need grass, and Claire doesn't get it. Then we cut to Jamie and Fergus, and it's a good scene where Jamie's like, great, did you get those keys? Did you? And Fergus is like, no.
They were already planning to rape my wife, so no, I didn't.
Yeah, that's, by the way, where I wrote, rape culture. It was a very upsetting scene. Yeah. And that captain didn't say shit.
The captain was just like, okay.
He didn't say shit.
He's a dick
Fuck that guy.
He has strong feelings about mutiny and that not happening, and really anything else happening as long as that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Anyway, Fergus's César Dumbarry is really good in this scene. But I paused to write down the entire line. You asked me if I would move heaven and earth for the woman I love, and I will, even if it means I cannot marry her. And then you can see Jamie go like Janine, go, burr. And it just shuts it right up because he starts thinking about all of the people who could die if he does this fucking thing. So apparently Fergus should have started talking to Jamie a long time ago because it makes him question his decision-making skills. Then also he uses his hand to knock on a door.
Yeah, I love this.
It was a good little detail. It was my number 2 detail of physical behavior after or whatever the hell that was. After the little hat tug, after the mini whatever that was.
Because you do that all the time.
I would.
The knock. It just be like, you just like, every single time you just be like, boom, boom. Like, this is the one perk.
I would even do that. Like, I know this is a little bit uncouth for the timing we're in, but like, I would Frank Underwood that shit all the time where I'd just be like knocking on tables. It'd be like, see ya. I know. Actually, fuck that reference. Everybody, I'm sorry about that. Sorry.
It's fine.
Yeah.
We'll just pretend that Christopher Plummer did that instead.
Maybe I'll try and edit it out.
No.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about Fergus knocking on doors with his hands in the spoiler section, so we got to keep moving.
Sure.
Then there's the scene where you get the sense that Claire is making a difference because nobody is moaning. Nameless Nice Sailor has a nice little moment there. And then accurate violin playing. Take it away.
Okay, well, I'm not in my... Oh, yes, the accurate violin play. Okay, so this, I was watching and just, I had to talk, just like exclaim, this is why you just hire someone who could play the violin to be your random extra playing the violin. And a shocking number of shows don't do that, and I don't understand why. But when they're on the ship, there's scoring that takes over. The fiddle comes through above the other scoring, and then we cut to the top, like above decks, and there's someone playing the violin, and they're actually playing the violin, and there's someone who plays the violin. As a violinist, I can speak to that. And it's not exactly lined up, but it's really close. They're trying really hard, and clearly, anyone who knows anything about scoring and music in television and film will know that you don't record it live because there's all these other noises that like do not sound pretty. So they had to re-record it later and then sync it up. And it's very close. It's not quite, but I don't really care because I care that they get into the effort to have it. Like, that's what a violinist looks like. And it just, it's not that hard. It's really not that hard if you care at all about it. And most of the time they don't. And it's just painful to watch. So I appreciated that.
Don't worry about me.
You looked like you were doing a thing.
I'm
It's
drunk.
fine.
I'm focusing very hard on the tasks I put in my mind.
Cool. Yeah, it's a tiny sidetrack, but did you watch Crazy Ex-Girlfriend this week?
Of course I watched Crazy. Like immediately.
How did you feel about Valencia playing the piano one key at a time? Because I thought of you when I got to that joke.
No, I have. We're going to talk. Well, I also have very specific thoughts about the lyrics in my diagnosis that I loved so very much. We'll talk about this off mic later. But yes, it was entertaining because some of the stuff matched, and like, so I wouldn't be surprised if the actor can actually play the piano, but like, yeah, that's
but it was
ridiculous.
Dink,
Like dink, and there's a chord, but you're playing 2 notes.
It made me laugh a lot. Okay,
Like, does that happen in other things where like you can hear like the like typing and like they're like punching, pecking, but the Foley is like clearly irregular? I feel like that's probably
there's a specific episode of Doctor Who where I have always assumed it was intentional, where Jenna Coleman's hands are above the keyboard and she's like wiggling her fingers and they're not on the keyboard, but you hear typing. So, anyway. So then Elias Pound dies.
And Janine cried.
And he says, "Mother," and it's very
that
sad.
was such a fucking...
Kate thought it was intellectually sad, but not emotionally
I
sad.
didn't think it was sad at all. I was like, okay, this is what they're doing. And we're gonna go to the. Okay, cool.
I'm crying again.
No, you're not.
I'm trying
I appreciate the scope of this as I can speaking to the romance genre and the heightened emotions of that. And yeah, this is the thing we're doing.
You know what? No, I was about to say you're compartmentalizing, but that's not true.
No.
We are reverse compartmentalizing. You're just having a normal reaction.
We're overfeeling about this.
I overfeel about
like,
basically
and
everything.
it was fascinating to me because you guys so like connected with it.
We were
And,
in.
Like anyone watching me after like any of this season's Crazy Ex-Girlfriend would say like she has no trouble connecting with television like drama, but like, and so many other shows too. But with this, it was purely intellectual. It was like, okay, I see what they're doing there. Is he going to die or is he going to recover? Oh, he's going to die. Okay. And then we're going to do the stitching.
Well,
okay.
like
so I was like, I'm cold and dead inside while y'all are feeling the feels.
No, you're not.
No, you're not.
Soft touch, incredibly soft. I mean, here's the thing. Janine sometimes gets extremely emotionally engaged just in listening to us retell the story for an episode he hasn't
Actually,
watched.
that's super true.
That's true. I, on the other hand, have read the books and have always found that character's arc, which is small. I mean, it doesn't last long. It's not a long section of the books, but I'm sorry, of the books. But it's I've always found it pretty moving. So I was having a book read reaction.
Yeah, but I like get choked up at the right commercials, and I'm like, "You're manipulating me for capitalism." I understand this, and it's still working. So like, it was a very strange. Normally, I'm the one getting overly emotional. You know, at TV, like things that I'm like,
get so emotional, baby.
Exactly. It's like, you haven't earned this, but it's just this really easy topic.
You haven't earned it, but you're taking it. Damn you. Damn you.
So it was very, normally I'm on the other side of it.
So, and then Annika Johansson, they smell land. Mm-hmm. And Annika says, "Grass for my goats." Wink, 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 and then we get stupid voiceover. So they are on land with the goats, and Annika tells Claire to run, and so she runs right into the captain. But first, she unfolds one fold of her trifold hat, and it made me so happy. And they have a conversation where basically the captain is like, "Well, I can't let you run away because you can't warn your husband." Mm-hmm. And this isn't in the books thing that kind of bummed me out, because in the books, he says, "I really regret writing that in the ship's log because now I have to do it. And I wish I hadn't because I owe you and I wish very much that wasn't there, but I wrote it in the ship's log, so I have to." Whereas this guy was like, "Nope, it's the law," which I appreciate, but I find less dramatically interesting.
No, I would have really, because that wouldn't have taken much on their end to just add that one extra line. Like, he was very apologetic.
It was more lines, believe it or not. I wonder if maybe they're setting something up for the future.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway, so she gets caught.
I get ready to be like, I had to pee, so I wandered away, and that's
toward
what.
the port?
Well, there's lubes there.
I liked that. Oh, am I?
That port.
That is
crazy.
That is an accurate book thing, because in the books, Claire is a terrible liar. So when she was like, oh, am I headed toward the port? I was like, yeah, that's great. That's exactly right.
Well, I did appreciate, I have a note here, but like, it's nice to not have an idiot captain for once. It's no, you were, and like, fair enough, but like, we gotta go back.
Yeah. So then she ends up back on the ship, and then we cut to Jamie, Packs and Specs.
Pecs and specs.
Made me so happy when you said that.
I'm gonna take a little bit of like, I feel like I helped that along.
Yeah, you set it up. You said pecs.
I said pecs.
And then I said pecs and specs.
Listen, I'm not funny, but I like it when other people
Yes,
are.
you're funny. Anyway, he's wearing his like pirate shirt and it's all untied and you can see those pecs.
Specific way. It was hilarious. The specificity with which it was casually draped.
It's like when you're doing a musical and they have you contour your boobs so your cleavage is more distinct. I felt like they did that. Although maybe it just looks that way.
I mean, they're intense pecs.
Pecs and specs.
It was hilarious because you said pecs, but I was like, while you were saying that, like, you know, setting that up and everything, and I was thinking, like, I feel like Terry Crews would have been making him dance at this point. And I feel like, so he still wins pecs and specs,
His
but
face
like,
would have shown up on one of those nipples. He's just been like, bah! Old Spice commercial.
Bam! Bam! Wow!
So he's looking at photos of Brianna, and while he's sitting in the ship jail,
I actually missed that because we were making a joke about it.
he was looking at photos of Brianna. That's why he put his specs on.
Yeah.
Because he has trouble reading? I don't know. He should not have been wearing glasses. He can see shit. Like, there's no...
They're like, we haven't seen the specs in a
No,
while.
he's farsighted. That's why he's so badass at everything. So he has to have his glasses to see things near him. Listen, I'm going to go with that's a fact.
He wasn't wearing his glasses when he was working in the print shop.
Whenever he read
He
something.
put them on.
Yeah, that's actually where he used them.
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
He put them on so he'd be like, oh, he needs glasses now. Very dashing glasses.
Yeah.
They are dashing.
Specky.
Pecs and specs. It's a new genre.
Oh my God, that's going to be the name of my gym library. It's a library and a gym where you lift books as part of your workout routine. That's not a good idea.
It's a terrible idea.
I just immediately went to like, what would I put on either side of the two-handed to balance them out? That's the kind of nerd I am. I was like, well, the Shakespeare complete works can go over here, but then we're going to need something strong over here.
Oh, but that's like classical mythology.
Shakespeare complete works on this side, and then let's do Sorcerer's Stone plus Deathly Hallows.
Yeah, well, that would do a lot, but I think where are you going to put the Bible? There's so many different versions.
Oh, I'm not including the Bible.
Okay. I'm just saying, we're talking fiction.
Listen, this actually...
burn.
This one from a bad idea to a great idea.
Pecs and specs. That's when I'm gonna start. When I'm gonna start my feminist porn site, it's gonna be called Pecs and Specs.
Well, and I loved how they kept cutting back to Fergus, and he's like so tied up, and they're like, "It's okay, we're not gonna make you sit next to Sam Hagen. Just like that's not fair.
Just wait.
We're gonna pull open the collar." A lot, but not 100%, so we can get a good angle here and lots of makeup. Like, it was just so
We'll
specific.
get a butt shot of him. That's what we're gonna get. The first Hot Fergus shot that we're gonna get is gonna be a butt shot. I promise you.
I believe it.
I'll bet money. Anyway, Marsley. It's really hard. I'm relearning it.
Listen, we give nicknames to everyone. We can just start calling her Parsley.
We don't often give nicknames to the women.
That's actually quite true. He doesn't. Yeah. Well, Parsley.
Mrs. Fitz. No, I don't want to call her Parsley.
Okay.
It's not accurate. Anyway, Patty. Haven't done that in a while.
Come on, that's not an accurate nickname for anything other than
Duncan LaCroix.
Well, but Parsley is all I can say now. Marsley.
No, we'll come up
Parsley.
with something better. Anyway, Marsley goes to the captain and is like, hey, I've got a thing for you. So his one weakness is once he swears an oath, he has to do it. You should see once he promised he was going to take me to, I don't know, the fair. I don't know. I was about to say my high school prom, and I realized that wouldn't be a thing. High school or prom. Like, it just wouldn't be a thing. Anyway, just make him swear and he won't do anything. And Jamie's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Why did you tell them my kryptonite?
What on earth? And she's like, well, you know he did it for you, right? Jamie's like, what are you talking about? It's like, Fergus, he did it for you. And then Jamie goes, oh, wait, I was a fucking idiot. Why was I so terrible to my surrogate son? I'm such an asshole. So he gets out of ship jail and gives them his blessing to get married. And to their credit, because they're both kind and generous people, neither of them says, we don't need your fucking blessing, you fucking asshole.
They also don't immediately start boning, which is nice of them.
Yes.
Consider it.
They hold it in. And then I'm not sure why his shirt is not covered in puke.
Yeah, but because it's not sexy.
Yeah, but
That is the only reason. Maybe he's had enough practice with that he can angle effectively.
He knows
brings
what
me
he's
to
doing with that.
A quick question: where's E.T. and Cho during this entire episode?
probably filming another series. Hopefully he's in demand.
He's working.
I can't. Maybe he wasn't puking anymore because he was getting to go down and give him his acupuncture. I don't know.
Sure, that's why.
Oh.
When they're planning a mutiny with
He's
like
just
two
hanging
people
out on the ship's balcony, writing poems in the dust on the deck. Good old E.T. and Chill. Okay, Fergus stayed for Jamie, gives blessing. Why is his shirt not covered in puke? Aniki's tiny hat. Okay, so we're getting to the end here. Claire all of a sudden gets dragged up to the aft deck.
Sure. That sounds like words.
I'm guessing. I don't know.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night, and Annika's like, go now, jump in the water. And Claire is understandably like, fuck no. Like, why the fuck would I do that?
And I was like, do I have to spell out everything for you? Oh my God. Okay. You need to leave. My husband's terrible. Apparently yours is pretty great. So like, go save that ass because you know he's going to be useless without you if my husband is any indication because he nearly killed himself on
drinking pure alcohol.
Pure alcohol. Yeah. So like, obviously I'm doomed to a life of this. You know, it's not like I can get it annulled, but like, you are my dream, so go for it. And also, you're an idiot, so I don't know if I can deal with more of our brunches here on the ship.
No more. Too many brunches.
Yeah, you're costing me too much goat cheese.
You have to. Yeah, way too much goat cheese. Yeah. Do you not? She shoved that whole thing in her mouth, and then she was like, "Okay, here's another one."
Like witness when he just downs the lemonade. Exactly. It's like exactly. You do not.
You don't even know what I did for you. Anyway, she's like, take these barrels, float on these barrels. You have to go now. You don't understand how water works. It will wash you in eventually, but you have to get the fuck out now because it's your only shot. And do not throw away your shot. You gotta go. And Claire's like, okay. And then Annika again, because this would never have occurred to Claire because Claire is terrible at time travel and also saving herself. Good at saving other people, bad at saving herself. She's like, take off your fucking skirt. Take off your boots. What is wrong with you? And then we all got very concerned about whether or not she still had penicillin in her back pockets. And then we started wondering what she had in her bum roll. We had a couple of different theories. One was it was just penicillin. I stupidly said it was full of M&Ms. I don't know why. But we decided that the thing it was most likely full of was tampons. Come on. If you were going to go back in time from the 60s, wouldn't you? And you were like, well, I'm taking these clothes on my back, but I can fill them with shit. Yeah. I have to have this bum roll. I want to fill it with tampons. Mm-hmm. I'm filling that shit with tampons. Yeah. I'm like, that is what I'm doing. Yeah. Would you fill your bum roll with something else, Janine?
I mean, I don't need tampons, but I would take them. Someone's got to use them.
Someone does need to use them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I am altruistic like that.
Thank you.
But also probably just like really, I have no fucking clue actually. Like actually presented with that question and actually trying to answer it, I have no clue.
Oh, I have so many thoughts about what I'd bring with me if I time traveled. What about you, Kate?
I'm much more prepared for the zombie apocalypse question, but
that's what I'm prepared for. Yeah, we're time traveling.
Yeah, with the time because the question is then you have to make sure that you're going to be able and willing to 100% keep track of it. So because you can't alter you can't alter the course of history with technology falling to the wrong hands. I mean,
depends on your viewpoint of how history works and how time traveling works.
Yes, I know, but as a Dr. Whovian, I mean, like, you know, they've messed up the timeline a bunch. Yeah.
Also, Claire invented compartmentalization. So,
how did she already knew about it? Why did she?
She told it to a dead kid.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, somebody was listening. Yeah.
But I feel like, so she was carrying a thing.
She told it to a dead
Her surgical tools were in the thing she was carrying, right?
Yeah, she had like a wrapped up thingy. So presumably that's somewhere else.
Because like on the scale, because, you know, I feel like she was so proud. She's like, it's a raincoat, guys. And then we didn't actually get to see her use it raincoat style. So it's a little unfortunate. But maybe she's going to drip dry super quick on the island.
Maps. I would bring maps.
She left her skirt behind.
You'd have to like just get those super laminated, but yeah.
I know, but I just realized it and I just got proud of myself. Sorry.
So she jumps into the ocean and floats on some barrels. End of episode. Then the little bonus episode includes such nice details as it was her first ponytail, and they used a deep tank, and I wrote down deep tank, and then the Death Bunny shit. So we're basically at the end. So Kate, here's what we do now. We have 3 scales. The first scale is the doing it scale. So on a scale from Ken Burns baseball to what's ship related. Cutthroat Island. I don't think of that as being very sexy. But Gina Davis.
Titanic.
Oh, Titanic. That's fine.
Okay, yeah.
There's that one. That one scene
in the coach.
Draw me like one of your French girls. There's that shit.
Yeah.
So Ken Burns baseball to, we'll say Ken Burns. I don't know. Naval history. Pretend that exists. To Titanic. Where would that fall for you?
Well, because we get the scene with Fergus and Marcelly, and I feel like Fergus is trying more for the romance of that, and Marcelly's like, no, let's just bone. So I feel like it's kind of more in the middle. Like he would like it to be the romanticism of that, and she's like, no, we're just really horny. And
so then, like, maybe like Hook, where Tinkerbell really wants to do it, and Peter's like, I'm sorry, I'm married.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really confused me as a
It's not
child.
sexy, though.
I know. As an adolescent, it confused me.
Yeah, it's not sexy.
Yeah.
Whatever. In the middle.
But I feel like it's somewhere, because like on the scale of Outlander, it's like 0.02. But on the Ken Burns baseball to Titanic, I feel like it's higher, because I feel like on the scale of Outlander and Titanic would be like a 3.
Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair. All right. So the next one is costumes. So we'll do, again, thinking about boat-related stories. So we'll say excellent movie, not a movie you think about as being costumes. We'll say Jaws, where they had to hide Bruce because his look wasn't up to scratch.
Yeah.
To Cutthroat Island. There we go. Where do the costumes fall for you?
Oh, way past Cutthroat Island. I love these costumes.
Great. Me too. I thought it was great. I mean,
love
Terry's
Claire's whole
always
thing.
great.
Yeah.
She looked, Kate made a great point when we were watching, which is just in the previews for next week. She's all sunburned and like messed up in that way, as opposed to covered in dirt you would never get on you in the ocean. Also, just for the hats. Hats alone.
Yeah.
Great hats.
Man, I mean, I finally got to see a trifold flat hat in a way that I thought people would use it.
It never occurred to me. I didn't think about the fold as being an active part of the hat.
Yeah, like the fact that she like put it down and like made it a brim. I'm like,
yes,
that's how I would do that too.
That's why they have them.
Yeah, what the fuck are you guys doing?
A+.
Yeah.
All right. So the last one is basically like how invested are you scale. So it's how often would you get up to get a drink? And there are variations on this, because sometimes you just need a drink because it's that intense, but then you have to pause it to go. So we'll do boat-related things. I don't want to reuse Jaws. We'll do Speed 2 Cruise Control.
Oh, that was actually where my mind was at. Great. Good
That's
job.
like doing
To,
the dishes straight up. Yeah.
The Rock. How about that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Great scale, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Y'all are way kinder to The Rock than I am.
I don't think it's good.
No,
but
we
I
have
do
some
think
good
it
boat
is
moments.
in terms of intensity.
Well, I think you can get up and get a drink during pretty much any Jamie scene in this.
Yeah.
So I think feeling that puts it kind of in the middle, but the stuff with Claire and Albie is fairly just compelling, and just in general, but also fun and engaging, and Albie's adorable. So I feel like, let's say on the scale, I feel like it's a good midpoint, like
Anaconda.
like I because like the
Deep Blue
let's
Sea?
say like
Deep Blue
the
Sea.
island stuff in Castaway, but not the water stuff in Castaway.
Oh, I like that.
Because like the water stuff in Castaway is like way beyond.
Yes,
you know,
but the island stuff. I
feel
have
like,
made fire. I have made fire.
Yeah, it's like it's a good scene and all, but like I can get some popcorn while I'm doing it.
Yeah. Good. That's good.
Oh, that's
Okay.
solid. Good job.
So the last little phase before we get to the end matter here is the golden pamplemousse, where you choose your top performer of the week. Janine, would you like to go first in the rare circumstance where you get to participate in this thing?
Well, is it? I mean, Albie.
Albie? You're going with little Albie?
Fucking love
Doomface?
I love fucking Doomface, man. Like
He was good.
he just did such a good job. And, you know, I know Katrina Bafrafova is also a part of that like experience with this kid, but man, good job. And I appreciate it. And like, it's been a while since I've had such a one episode connection to a character.
Cool.
So
that's a good argument.
Yeah. Did a good job.
Kate, what about you?
Hanukkah, it's not even close. And like the performance is good.
Chanel de Jager.
Like if you want to read into it, there's enough exasperation there, and if you don't, then she's just sincere and very sweet. But like if you want to see it, then there's some like, my goats need grass. How, like, seriously, lady, come on. Which I appreciated.
Yeah.
I am tempted to go. Well, I agree with both of your choices.
Yeah.
I'm also tempted to go with César Dombor. But we have not actually picked Katrina Buffon yet this season. So I'm going to go with Katrina Balfe.
Oh.
I shouldn't do that because we started saying Tobias Menzies' name right and then he left the show. Shit.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't curse
I thought she was she's great every episode. She's very good at her job. But I thought that her shit, especially when Albie Elias Doomface was dying, was really lovely. And it was fun watching her figure out how Claire would make these incredibly terrible decisions. So I thought that was good. Any final thoughts anybody wants to share before we do the shit?
Well, I just want to say that I think this is the first time we've, like, because the Golden Pebble moves tends to be a uniform decision.
It's like half and half.
Half and half. I don't normally participate, but I think these are wildly different choices, which I actually really appreciate. This seems like a very solid,
it's an ensemble episode.
Very good episode. Absolutely. Yeah.
Anything else, Kate?
Well, too many for now. So hit me up on Twitter, everybody.
Yeah. And where can they find you on Twitter?
At the Televerse.
And tell the people about the Televerse.
Televerse is my weekly TV podcast where we talk about just a stupid amount of TV. We're trying to keep it to like 2 hours a week.
And who's your co-host?
My co-host is Noel Kirkpatrick, and he's fabulous. So yeah, at the Televerse, hit me up. I love talking about TV. I watch too much TV. Help me validate myself and feel like I've not wasted my life. Yeah.
It's a great, great, great show. You, in addition to finding Kate at the Televerse, you can find Janine at Pagel_Aaron until he finally follows through on his threat to make a Janine-specific Twitter account.
It's going to happen.
You can find me at Allison Shu. You can find the show at facebook.com/PodlanderCast, on Twitter at PodlanderCast, on Patreon, which will allow you to get a whole bunch of bonus episodes, including a brand new bonus episode series called Anyway, Patty. You can find us at patreon.com/PodlanderDrunkcast. That also give you access at a certain level to our Podlander Drunkcast Slack channel, which has been so fun.
There's lots of gifts. Just hang out with us with the gifts.
It's a gift party all the time. It's really fun. We specifically, speaking of Patreon, want to thank all of our patrons, but specifically our most generous patrons, Lori McGuire, new patron. Thanks, Lori. Yvonne Kaiser, not a new patron. Go to hell, Yvonne. Just kidding. Yvonne, you're the best. Anne Gavin, Katie Kirshner, Amanda Newton, Beth Locke, Kelly Sheehan, Jessica Dobrovich, Aaron Yusey, Molly Layton, Heather Moore, Ruth McCormick, Trish McCrary, Kara Marlowe, Catherine Galindo, Kiki the Wise, Flourish Root, Dr. J, Friday Payton, Jen Lander, Drunklin, and Kathleen Moniz, as well as everybody else. Thank you for listening. Follow Kate and get all the great shit from her. Get ready to listen to an episode about underwear where you can only hear one of the two twins on the show.
You can hear both of them, but Scotty's a little... she's old.
Whatever, there are
she's
twins.
Old Janine.
Okay. And Julie will be back next week to talk about whatever the hell the next one's called, where Claire hopefully drinks a lot of sangria. We should have done a spoiler section this week.
Are we not doing a JC spoiler?
We're so over time. I'll tell you what, I'll do a little one.
So then,
you seem fine with it. Are you fine with it?
Fine. I assumed
we'll do
y'all had
spoilers.
Okay, so then everyone,
we're gonna do one.
If you're not gonna be a part of the spoilers, turn it off now. We love you. Oh shit. Oh, go drink that.
Yep. And if you're leaving us, bye. Pretend Yakety Sax is playing. But also, I actually have to pee, so let's pause.
And
don't you dare cut that out.
Never.
hey, so we checked this before recording. Kate has also not read the books, but has read the Wikipedia entries, which I love. But there are some big changes from the books, and there were some this episode. So of the things that I want to share, one is I just have to get some shit off my chest because I'm really bummed about a cut they made, and this will be like for real. If you don't want to know things that could happen for the rest of the season, you have to stop listening. Because I can't talk about the scene that got cut without revealing a character who's going to be a major part. And I'm not even talking about the one we were just talking about, a different one. Anyway, the other one is just a fun thing that I think is probably going to get cut based on a thing I just really... Anyway, so the first thing. Stop listening for real. Thing one, thing two? Yes, thing one is... You nerd. So the reason that ship is going to Jamaica is because they're conveying the new governor of Jamaica. Oh. And the new governor of Jamaica is Lord John Grey. So he's been confined to his cabin to keep him from getting the plague. So Claire's on the ship, doesn't ever see the governor because they want to keep him from getting the plague because he's the reason the ship is going. Mm-hmm. And then one day he gets stir crazy and he wanders out and he finds her the day Elias Pound dies, finds her basically crying, like losing her mind over the ship balcony, the rail, or whatever. And they have a conversation about grace, basically, about finding peace in chaotic time. It's a beautiful, beautiful scene. And the whole time, neither of them knows who the other person is because the last time they saw each other, he was a child. Is this Coinface? Yeah, Coinface. This is Coinface. Yes, Coinface. I live through nicknames. Oh, sorry. Yes, Coinface. Okay. So they don't know, the relationship they have to each other because they don't recognize each other, and Jamie isn't there to give them context. Sure, yeah. So they have this conversation where they both take a great deal of comfort in the other person, and then, of course, because they're going to the West Indies, they run into isn't the right word, but they encounter Lord John Grey in Jamaica, and all of a sudden she is the woman who's married to the man he's been in love with for 20 years, and he is a man who's in love with her husband. So they were these people who found this incredible connection who are then suddenly adversaries, and it's just... I see why it was cut. I do not. Spoilers, that's why. Yeah, no, complete spoilers. Because I guess that's right, to make it more of a surprise when they run into him. They can contrive a reason for them to interact before Jamie's there. Yeah, that's true. And in the context of that episode, to develop that relationship and then give them reason to hate each other later. Like, that's Charles Manson died. Yeah. Really? Yeah. Sorry, I just looked at my computer. It was right there. Oh, shit. No, I'm not drinking to that guy. Drinking that he's dead? I'm drinking to Outlander. Oh, shit. Outlander. Okay, I'll do that. But that's interesting for me because that recontextualizes him for me in a big way. Lord John? Yeah, from the way that he's been shown on the show. It's been not negative like that at all. Oh, and it's not. It's an incredibly positive scene. They're not... No, but what I mean is like his relationship with Jamie has always been one of like, but like they present him as if he's like bi on the show, I think. And at least that's how I read him. And like this idea of like, it's not like some huge sacrifice from him, like for all we know, he's into chicks too, from what they show on the series. And so then to this idea that then when he does show up, there's an antagonism there, recontextualizes the way that he and Jamie parted for me. So it'll be interesting to see how they play it. Well, and to see that Claire is the reason for the antagonism. Yeah. And that turns into an antagonist. Neither of them ends up in any sort of trouble with Jamie. Yeah. Right? Like it's specifically between the two of them. Yes. There's like, guys, I'm amazing. Come on. Yeah. Look at these pecs. I've said this before. Pecs and specs. He remains a major character through all of the series so far. Yeah. Like he's around forever. He's one of the best characters in the books. Mm-hmm. So obviously their relationship eventually changes because they're kindred spirits essentially. Like they're very similar. Mm-hmm. Although he would probably be a much better time traveler and he holds his liquor better. So anyway, it's in the context of what's going on the ship, is one of my favorite scenes in the book and maybe in any of the books, because it's just a woman who's been spending all of her time trying to keep people from dying. And the person who is helping her keep people from dying dies. And she just runs out of compartmentalization room, basically. That scene is an invention of the show, and I really liked it. But she just can't anymore. She is at her wit's end, and she's standing on the deck of this ship, hoping that there'll be some sort of moment of peace that she can find from the landscape or something, and instead it comes from this man she doesn't know. And they have this exchange that's very moving for both of them. And I've just always really loved it. And I thought they were going to cut the plague ship entirely. And when they didn't, I was like, oh, great. So we get that Lord John Grey scene. And instead they kept the plague ship and lost Lord John Grey. And it really bumps me out. Anyway, the other thing. Anyway, Patty, I should say that. Julie be pissed.
Yeah, we haven't really done that on this episode.
Well, we got it in that time. Anyway, so this will probably get cut because Fergus has a wooden hand now instead of a hook. So when you were talking about him knocking on the thing, this is what this made me think of. There's in the same scene where they re-encounter Lord John in the books. There are some soldiers on Jamaica who are being real dicks because Fergus is French. They're being dicks to Marsali, and they're being dicks to him. Marsley. They're being dicks to him, and they're being dicks to everybody. And Fergus turns on the charm and is like, "Thank you, monsieur, for all of your help." I don't know. And he holds out his hand to shake. A glove. It's a glove. He holds out his glove to shake, and the soldier shakes his hand, and Fergus yanks his hand back, and then he's just holding a glove, and then beans just spill out of it. And then he bows and he walks away with this guy just holding a glove that beans are just going psst on the floor. It makes me so happy. But because
stupid gag.
It's so good. Can you imagine?
That would fuck you up.
It's like
What just happened?
It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. All of a sudden,
Like, what's going on?
and they're totally gonna cut it because he doesn't have a hook anymore, so he wouldn't be hiding. Like he would just have the wooden hand.
It would just
so he
be
can't
a glove,
possibly.
yeah.
Oh my God.
It'll never happen. But that's what him going like. That's what that made me think of. Anyway, Fergus in the bean hand.
What a silly gag that is.
I'm sorry, that's the best. He's a little scamp. He's a scamp.
He is.
Anybody questions?
Comments?
Anything?
Concerns?
No. Kate, thanks for doing the show.
Thanks for having me on.
We'll have that music one. It'll be really fun.
Yeah.
I'm actually really excited about that one.
And you know what? The next
I'm done with expositions because I have a lot of work to do before I can come back on.
We have plenty of time. And that time, we'll make sure that we do it on a day and time that's great for you in general. Not that this isn't, but it's late. And then we'll be somewhere where you won't have to drive. And then we'll get you good and sauced.
Yeah, we'll have to, because I'm nice and sober now at the end, which I feel like is not in keeping with the
totally
spirit.
is.
No,
Okay.
it's responsible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah.
There's not. It's not like we would be like, oh, you don't drink, you can't be on the show.
can't
That
be
would
on
never
the
happen.
show.
Julie and I have had a conversation about that. She was like, well, because you don't have to drink. I was like, no, of course not.
No.
This is just because this is what we do.
I'm really glad that we're talking about it now because I could use to stop drinking a little bit. Not that I felt pressured at all.
You do. I should see. I wish I could get my cat to talk. That means it's time to go. Okay, bye.